Have you guys run Facebook ads before? How's the result? Like, you got some leads, or you like?
We got minimal leads, and not that we spent a whole lot of money considering what advertising is worth these days, but just didn't really see it panning out the way we hoped, and we just kind of ran it on our own and let the ads go. So it's not like we really hooked up with the company and did anything special.
Like you just put money in, trying to see what would happen. So you guys weren't doing like retargeting or pixels or anything like that. It was just boost a post and see what happens. Gotcha. So the analogy that I use is going to the gym. Like you can go to the gym every day for 6 weeks, and then you have Taco Bell once, and like you lose like all the results. You know what I mean? So the stuff that you do outside of the gym matters just as much as the gym itself. It's the same way with the ads. So of the 6 parts or 7 parts, just one part is the actual ad. Like if you aren't doing all the other stuff along the way, you don't get that 3 to 5 to 10x ROI. And as soon as we started running our ads this way, we started getting a 22x ROI for a pump. We ran his ads for a week. He made $3 grand on 4 sales, which I thought was pretty cool. So we spent like 81 bucks. On an $800 ad campaign, he made $4,200. Even including our fee, he made an awesome ROI. Is a Coconut Grove-based, super expensive bike shop. We ran their ads for 2 weeks. They got 5 people walking in. Each person spent on average $150. The guy was so psyched about it, he came in and did a testimonial that next week. So that type of stuff. So the way it runs, and this is me pitching you, right? Like you can feel it, right? So there's the ad, right, which you guys did, right? And the ad has to be attention-getting, click-worthy, and worth breaking a habit over. So very often it's something like, hey, Miami, tooth pain, jaw problems, and XXX aren't any fun, right? Like you call it your audience. It has to be attention-getting, right? Very often I found that like a smaller medium business will make their ad about them. Like, hey, Miami, we've been in business for 25 years, and we're like 5 stars on Google. We're amazing. When it really should be about the person, like solving their problems, right? The ad. And this is where most people stop. But this is where we keep going. And this is why an agency, I think, is like kind of useful. So you guys were doing like age, gender, split testing, right? You weren't trying to figure out which combination of ages and genders is the best one. OK, so let's say that you spend $10,000 in advertising on Facebook, right? What we do is we actually do split testing. So we'll take $100 and send it to men 18 to 29. And then another $100 and send it women 18 to 29. $100 men 30 to 39. And then $100 women 30 to 39. And then we do it all the way down. And then we figure out which audience is the best responsive and most responsive to it. This thing is freaking me out. I'm just going to turn it off. Wherever the remote is. It's on the table. It's kind of like digging for oil. Like, do you spend $1 million digging everywhere, or 100 grand figuring out where the oil is and go straight down, right? So when we did this for a chiropractor who sat in your chair 2 months ago, he fought me on this really hard. Like, he knew the type of people that come into his office, which is like philosophically interesting because that's like your mountain. It's not the highest mountain, that's just the one that you're on, right? So do you have any idea which type of people respond best to chiropractic ads? Is it like, is it?
I would assume people in their, I would guess men, and I would put it on ranges 30 to 50.
Yeah, because it's like they played high school sports and their knee hurts or their back hurts, and then they finally have money and your body stops fixing itself, so they go into a chiropractor. Yeah, shoulder hurts, back hurts, stuff like that. It's actually women, 30 to 39, and almost exclusive because of pregnancy. They had a person sitting on their sciatica nerve for 9 months, or they carry their kids like this and their lower back hurts, or something is going the wrong way. Only women respond to chiropractic ads. Do you know what type of ads men respond to? Men only respond to sports clinics. So if you're a chiropractor trying to target men with a chiropractor name, you're wasting your money. You should be called a sports clinic, right? Which is kind of interesting because as a dental office, I wonder if it's the same type of scenario for your customers. It could be, right? I mean, we won't know until we test, right? So once we figured this out, we literally turned off all the ads that weren't performing. And then put all the remaining dollars only into the segment of people that actually responded. Within 2 weeks, he made $4,200 from people that walked in, from people that he could upsell. And because there was the type of people that respond really well, there wasn't a lot of resistance. It would be like realizing that your best customers are moms and dads with kids under the age of 13. Cleanings, dentists, braces, etc. So you only put your money there, right? That type of idea, right?
I'm just curious as to, let's say you decided on women 30, 39 for this chiropractic office.
Yeah.
Based on the results, what if the results were somewhat close?
So if the results were close, so let's say it's like women 30 39 and men 30 39, right? If it's just that age bracket, then we only advertise that age bracket. But we've never found a scenario where like it's always close. It's almost always a scenario of like one always wins. It's literally a middle finger on the chart. Like that's your age bracket. And what we do is we don't let Facebook determine that. We measure all the way at the end where the dollars come out of. Does that make sense? Because that's like ultimately what matters, the dollars and the ROI. So it's not a scenario of like who clicks most on your ad, it's who. Correct. Yeah. So very often you'll find like, I mean, you've tried like advertising or boosting posts, and you're like, great, we got like 50 likes. So like, who cares? Nobody came into our store, right?
Yeah. Try telling that to the millions of advertising companies that everybody's working with nowadays. I got you 1,000 clicks. I got you 1,000 calls. I'm like, great. Out of those 1,000 calls, how many people actually paid? And I understand that heavily determined by us once they walk through our door. But some people just go there asking for a free ride.
Right.
It's not going to be the case.
So we found a lot of, going back to the chiropractor, that a lot of people over the age of 65 are really interactive with chiropractors on Facebook. Like they're asking a lot of questions, but they never spend any money. So we turned off that ad set. That way you're not incurring the time and the emotional energy of responding correctly. Like, because if they leave a question on there, you don't respond, you look like a jackass, right? So we just stopped advertising. So there was no questions, no comments, only customers. So it was kind of interesting, right? What's even more interesting is what you mentioned. It's like it's kind of on you. But as an agency, there's other stuff we do to make people more interested in purchasing. And that's called a soap opera sequence, which we'll get to later. So once we figure out the ad and who to show it to, it's a question of where does it go to. So you have to go on Facebook and say, link to my website or something like that, right? But did you know that the average conversion rate, so before I go into that, do you ever go to a website and like what you're looking for isn't right in front of you, so you spend 45 minutes trying to figure it out? Or do you just close and start again? Always close. Like if your Google search result isn't in the top 3, you restate your result, or restate your question, right? So we found it's the same way with small and medium business websites. So when these people click on the ad, if the next step isn't obvious, or if there's a break in that experience, or they think they're going to the wrong website, they just close out. And very often that means sending people to your homepage, your contact page is wrong, because it doesn't look like the ad they clicked on. Kind of like you look at an ad in the newspaper for a restaurant, and you go to the restaurant, it doesn't look like it, you just leave. You don't go inside and like, hey, I thought this was, is that not right? You're like, we'll go somewhere else, right? So on average, if you send people to your home page, your conversion rate is about 15%. That's the number of people that go versus the number of people that actually take action. So if you get 100 people through all this and send them to your homepage, only 15 actually end up becoming a lead. If you send people to the contact page, it's about 20%, which is still pretty bad. With specific built landing pages, It's 75%. So we build our landing pages in a way to where you don't have to like talk to a developer or figure out how to do it or add a new page to your website. We build out the landing page. We make it look just like the ad. And we have all the live tracking and heat maps, so our conversion rates shoot through the roof. So immediately right out of the bat, you're talking 3 to 4 times increase in conversions, which is the number of leads that your website generates, right? So all things being equal, if you spend $1,000 just here, you're going to get a bunch of clicks. If you spend $1,000 just here, you're going to get a bunch of inquiries. If you spend $1,000 here, you're going to get a whole bunch of leads, right? Like you're seeing these numbers begin to move up. Then we realized that having a receptionist call back a bunch of people, or like, remember you emailed me back, I was just trying to see what would happen, right? Emailing people back kind of resets this like urgency. Like I filled out the form, I'm done, they'll call me. Which means you gotta play voicemail phone tag, right? Which is what I was doing to you. Like I wasn't picking up for a reason, right? I was responding by text, because I feel like that's how most people operate now, right? So what we do is we give people an incentive to actually schedule their appointment. We create a thank you offer. Their journey isn't done by just filling out the form. For the chiropractor, we gave away a 15-minute massage. He got 6 appointments just from here. He made $750. Just because people said, hey, I'm interested in the freebie, 15 minutes massage has no cost. Like, you're just in the chair, right? So people actually took the incentive, took up the thank you offer, and actively called and scheduled the appointment, which meant you or the front desk person isn't playing voicemail tag or calling people back or having a bunch of people like up in the air, right? Like it's pretty cool to have your phone ring when you put money into Facebook and your phone rings, right? And then what we found is that more and more people live their life through Outlook or like some type of calendar app. And when you've got 2 kids, a job, your car, life, taxes, a house, PE, school, soccer, everything, right? Having a random person call you on the phone is just like filling out one form on Trulia and 20 people call you. Have you ever tried that? Like, you fill out one form, you're like, your sales pitch sucks, and you hang up, right? So we have people actually schedule a time for a callback or their actual appointment. And we found people actually do this. Like, hey, I'm here for my 3 o'clock. Or when you call, instead of like, hey, I've got my kids, I'll call later, or it goes to voicemail, instead it say, hey, let's talk about the challenge I'm having with my tooth, or like, I've got big challenges and questions with my kids' braces, I don't know how to think about this. Like they dedicate actual time to this. They treat it just like a real Outlook appointment, which I think is like kind of interesting. So when we create an appointment page, people actually keep their appointments. You can choose to like schedule and come in, or like we'll call you. But all of a sudden, numbers keep moving up. Then what do we do? Well, scoreboards are a big deal, and I'm really into scoreboards, so we know how good we're doing, right? So anytime somebody actually fills out this form, like is a lead, we send a text notification. We send a text to you, we send a text to us, and then we send a text to the customer. And what's really cool about the software that we use, it's like a lot of routing. So when they respond to the text, it goes to you. So you're engaging with real people who have real questions with real leads. And what we found, whether it's the pest control company, the chiropractor, or SunCycle, a lot of people are in the I'll engage, I'll ask a question, and come back 30 minutes later. It's asynchronous conversations, right? Like most texts. People close here. Sounds good, I'll come in. Which is kind of interesting. Everything's cool with the audio? All right, cool. You can tell we like our toys, right? So what's even more interesting is we end up with this really cool way of keeping ourselves honest. So you'll have to forgive the broken phone that I'm going to show you. But our chiropractor, yeah. No, it's just I keep missing my pants, right? So, hey, same club, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the chiropractor, right? We turned his campaign on yesterday. He immediately got a lead. 10 o'clock at night, which I guess is when people do Facebook, right? SunCycle, 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 right? And these are kind of weird times. That's me testing. That's a real one. But that's when people are active. 2 a.m., 9 p.m., 2:30 p.m.
Right. Outside of their busy schedule.
Right. Because that's when people are on Facebook and take care of their lives, right? Nobody does it at work. And if they do, they certainly can't deal with you calling them or trying to play voicemail tag, right? So the cool part about this is not only do we keep ourselves honest so we know how many leads that we sent to you, but you can start closing over text message like modern day people under the age of 40 do all the time. I text my parents more than I actually talk to them on the phone, right? And then what? So you know of Kim Kardashian, right? What does she sell? Her stuff? Herself? Most people answer her butt, right? Yeah, like everybody else. Everybody says her butt, right? I'm actually keeping down the cursing. I usually, like, through almost all of my presentations, there's a lot of F-bombs and shit, this sucks, and like stuff like that, right? Yeah. So Kim Kardashian, she sells her butt. But do you know what she actually sells, like her products and services? She sells purses, face cleansers, and teas. Right? There could be. Like, she does endorsements. Who knows, right? But more people know about Kim Kardashian's soap opera of a life than they do about the products that she sells, which is okay. Because I didn't have to tell you who Kim Kardashian was. Just like when it comes to referrals and recommendations, I shouldn't have to explain about South Florida Dental Arts, right? It should just be, oh yeah, that's a good place. Yeah, I know about them. All right, yeah, I think I'll go. Like, once you establish that everybody knows your story, it's easier to have that conversation about referrals. And then we found more people are interested in the business owner's story than the products or services that they sell. Because, like, I mean, you drive 20 minutes in the direction, there's another dentist, right? So it's the story that's the differentiator. Oh, less than that, right? So, like, I bet you passed a couple on the way here, right? Yeah, there's like 3 on, like.
One every couple blocks, basically, nowadays.
Great. So that means you've got price competition. You've got a lot of people shopping around. And anybody who has a discrepancy of value can just go somewhere else really fast, right? Which sucks. But that means that when anybody signs up, they get a follow-on sequence. Every day for the next 6 days, they get to learn the founding of the company, the testimonials, the upsells, the before and afters, what you're doing on your site, automatically sent to the phone. Which means people that go through the landing page and go through the thank you page, but forget and don't respond, get caught here. And even people that do get reminded to upsell and buy. Like, imagine if every potential lead or every potential customer, everybody that was a customer, you know, the founding of the company, the amazing life-changing stories. You guys do emergency work too, right? Like, how awesome is that? That's huge margins. That's huge turnaround. Everybody pays immediately. And what if in day 3, it became obvious to every single person that signed up, of which there could be 100, knew that you do emergency dental services? Like, how much is that worth, right? Speaking of, how much is each one of your customers worth?
Can't put a price on that one.
All right, so how much do you guys charge? You know about the value ladder? So dentists are actually, like, naturally good at this. Like, you bring people in for, like, a free cleaning, and then you upsell them the whole way, right? So you guys, yeah, that's just how it works, right? Like, you get them in the store. So you guys don't have a free cleaning, you have, like, a paid cleaning, right? How much is your teeth cleaning or your teeth whitening? $100, right? How much is the next chunk? Do you have, like,
Say deep cleaning, 150 quadrant.
so that could be up to $450? Really? Do you guys have whitening? Is that $300? $349 cleaning. Do you guys do the all-in-4s or 4-in-1s or something like that? Like, I think it's like they take out all of your teeth and then screw in new ones. Is that a thing?
That would be implants, but
That's not a term? All right, I was looking up like before you came over. Oh, well, whatever. So what's the next step?
This all depends per tooth. I would say
You got root canals.
crowns, veneers, root canals. Yeah, root canals will say $750.
You got braces?
We don't offer braces. We do Invisalign,
Yeah.
and that's $5,000.
What about emergency work?
Depends on the case.
Has there ever been a time somebody comes in for an emergency and they spend less than $700?
Yeah.
Is that rare or common?
I would say it's common.
Yeah.
Most people come in and they do. I mean, typically it's a root canal when people need it because that's
Oh, okay.
what causes the most pain.
So it's $750.
But I would say that a lot of people come in for fillings also, a cavity that's bothering them and things like that. And
So like $200-300?
yeah, depends on how many they have.
So what's cool about the value ladder is you bring people here and you know this, and then they just keep moving up. But if you don't have a system that automatically gets people to move up, that means you're on the phone having to call them to remind them to come in, and then, hey, what about this, and sell them and things like that. Everybody's on guard for that all the time, and they're always Googling before they come into your store, so what do? You have a soap opera sequence that talks about the before and after of root canals. A really cool and unique story. The deep cleanings. The deep cleaning, and then cleaning again. What did I put here? Whitening. Invisalign, things like that. You naturally move them up the ladder with the soap opera sequence. And you guys aren't doing retargeting, right? You aren't doing, so like when I went to your website, I'm not getting an offer on Facebook. You're not doing that, right?
No, I know what we're targeting.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. So, do you know how many visitors you get or how many appointments you get through your website?
I'd say on an average of 5 a month, something like that.
Like people like what I did. So let's just say 1 a week, right? How many of those people end up coming in? About 4 a month, right? How many of your Facebook fans or friends have come in recently? It's got to be a small number, right? But I'm pretty sure some of them need some work done, right? Especially because you have this spectrum of services, right?
Coffee, water? I'll take some water. Okay.
No, I'm good, thank you. So you know how powerful this could be, right?
Definitely.
So why aren't you guys doing it? Is it just because of life?
No. We talked to the company about doing it, but way overpriced, and I hadn't really heard anybody talk about it very much, and it didn't bring the results that I was hoping.
Really?
So I've seen myself obviously be targeted, and I feel like it'd be a good thing to get into,
But
it's expensive.
it's expensive. How much is expensive for retargeting? Because
The company that we previously had talked to, I think they wanted, because of course they want a cost for their whole campaign, and retargeting is just a piece of their campaign. I think they wanted like $3,000 a month, something like that.
really, okay. For like, were they doing all this too, or this was just like AdWords and stuff like that, Facebook ads,
They wanted to get into AdWords.
which is really just here, right? I'm gonna leave that 3K up, because like that'll tie in with like the pitch that I give you, right? We have a guy coming in, Dr. Garcia from Affiliate Healthcare. Once a week, every week, he comes in and does a filming in front of that green screen. You know those sharper image pillows? You know the ones with like the 2 humps? Do you know which side your neck is supposed to sleep on?
Which side your neck is supposed to sleep
Yeah.
on? The smaller side, I would assume.
What about if you're a back sleeper? Right. So he did a pillow video. He got 3,000 views in 24 hours. People walked in and sent him messages and talked to him on the street saying they saw him on Facebook. I'll bet there's a pillow somewhere in here. It could lead to the Invisaligns. It could lead to the deep cleanings. It could lead to the root canals. Once a week, every week he comes in. This is part of the package. Like, you actually get to use our studio and shoot. They're not professional videos because those don't perform on Facebook. They're real people videos. Like, people mess up and then they have to cut it, like the stuff that like gets 5,000, 10,000 views, right? That type of stuff. And I saw you guys do something with the yellow pages, but it looked too impersonal. It didn't seem like a human being. It felt like, right, and it's still there. Like, I don't know if you can take it down, but it didn't make me feel like a human being. It felt like a pharmaceutical commercial, right? Whatever. When we were trying to figure out how much to charge for this, we were doing our research. And I used to do this for big companies at Intel and Ericsson. My internal charge for running this program for 6 months was $225,000. Like almost $250,000 over 6 months to do this. When we priced this out for a New York-based PR and marketing company, because most of this is PR and marketing, right? This is just the ad part, right? We got quotes from anywhere between $140,000 and $160,000 with a 12-month agreement. When we went to Crispin Porter and Badesky, or Badesky, I still can't pronounce her name, for a program like this, they were charging $80,000 a year. We don't charge anywhere close to that. We charge $2,250. That's a month-to-month agreement. That doesn't include a $500 suggested ad spend. We build the car, we maintain the car, money comes in, customers come out. It's still less than the quote you got from there, and runs all of this. And if all this did would get you one more Invisalign customer, you'd have your 3x right off the bat. We've seen campaigns like this pull 100 customers in a month. 3 a day. Yep. 3 a day of people that saw the ad, clicked on the landing page, filled out the thank you offer, got a text notification, and understood the soap opera sequence. And we need a dentist. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I see that you target Facebook. Why is that?
Versus like Google Ads or something like that.
Google AdWords or Instagram.
So the problem with Google AdWords is you will never win. There's always somebody else out there that will spend more money than you to beat you. And as much money as you can have, you'll never beat the $1 billion that Yelp has, or Angie's List, or any city guide, or anything like that. They will always be 1, 2, and 3. If you're a real estate agent, you would not beat Trulia. Not going to happen, or Zillow, or Redfin, or whatever. So the best you can do is maybe like the bottom of the first page. And then stuff changes. And then the algorithm switches up. And your leads go from 2 or 3 a day to 0. You got to put more money in the machine because Google decided to do something different. And you don't really know who the people are. You don't get to build a community. You don't get to build a sense of culture. You're just another link. With Facebook, you get a whole suite of analytics. We retarget across anywhere. Mike. He's our video and audio guy too. And when we use Facebook, all of a sudden we're getting a better ROI. We're seeing results a lot faster, and it's real people. And you can't turn ad blocker on your Facebook app. Like, it's just constant results. And because people are more comfortable with like name, phone number, and email, Facebook allows you to essentially invite them to your page, and then they're part of your cohort or your culture for remarketing, for retargeting, for, hey guys, we're running a special, or let me put out an amazing testimonial video that all my customers for the past 90 days who joined my Facebook group can now be part of. You can do that with Facebook. Instagram is cool if you're selling shoes, or yo-yos, or fidget spinners, not dental services. What's even cooler about Facebook ads versus, say, Google ads, is I can target age, gender, interest, family size, how old your kids are, how far away you live, your income, your zip code, whether or not you are involved on the dentist side, whether or not you work at Baptist or not, whether you are an employee or the owner of a competing dental group, so you don't show them the ad, right? On Google, I would just type in dentist in Miami, and then all of a sudden I have all my competitor research that I need to know. Can't do that on Facebook. So that's where we use our software. So this is on Facebook. That's on Facebook using all like their advertising tools. The landing page uses software called ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels lets us build everything correctly across desktop, tablet, mobile, PC. It's always updated, and it's not a conversation with you have to talk to your web guy to get something done that's in his timeline that eventually will be done sooner that will break on mobile. You don't have to deal with that. And because ClickFunnels comes with software called Hotjar, which lets us record what people click on and watch them fill it out on the fly, we avoid the fat finger problem like typos, right? Like you ever type a phone number incorrectly? We can catch that. You ever type an email incorrectly? Like we've seen people type @gma.com. So we automatically fix it to Gmail. ClickFunnels, Calendly, our text software, ActiveCampaign. This used to be $1 million worth of software, and then because of just normal life, all of a sudden it's a tool that we can use. Right. So the landing page runs completely separate. So we don't influence any rankings you currently have. We don't penalize, we don't reward. It's an entirely different domain. So if anything happens, there's no penalization, there's no software on your website, there's no, hey, is this going to slow us down? There's no changes. Your stuff runs separately. We have our own channel, so it's directly measurable, and you know if you got the leads and the ROI that you want. Yeah, none, because it's totally separate.
Different domain, different information.
Correct. Well, I mean, it would be up to like brand okay. It's not like we would like, it would be good to look at, but the domain is totally separate. So from Google's point of view, there's no alterations to your current site. It'll just kind of run separately. And the cool part about that is we can do cool things faster. So Hotjar, like I mentioned, we introduced that 2 weeks ago. Imagine if we had to go to you to install on that developer domain or somewhere else. That would just be a big ball of frustration. Are you guys using custom audiences at all? So custom audiences, so imagine if everybody that went to your site but didn't click out a contact form, if you could send them a specific ad that said, hey, we saw you went to our site. Any questions, comments, concerns, send us a message today. You can do that with custom audiences because Facebook, once you install a pixel, lets you segment your audiences. So I, the agency, can say, hey, it looks like there's 500 people visiting your website a month, and only 4 of those are actual customers. What happens to everybody else? Let's send them a follow-on ad. What about everybody that has followed you on Facebook? When was the last time they came in? So that's a setting. That's an actual option. Through Facebook. Like, it will be an ad that shows up on their newsfeed. Kind of like when you put pants in Amazon and the pants follow you everywhere. Same idea. But it's intensely customized, which you can't do with Google. Correct, like super custom. So to a point where even if it's just like one person that went to your website, looked at emergency dental work, and didn't fill out a contact form, for the next 3 days you can serve them an ad that said, hey, slots are filling up, take action now, call us today, 24-hour service. Which is how you catch the fish that go through the net. It's exciting stuff. I think it is, right? Which is how we earn our fee, by the way, because we have all these like different levels. Lookalike audiences are super fun. So you've heard about fidget spinners, right? Like how they've gone from like, no one's ever heard of them to just like that, right? Do you know how that turned out? It's all through Facebook. It's a Facebook-driven product because somebody like me figured out what's called lookalike audiences. So 1,000 people like way back in the day, bought the fidget spinners, the stupid ones. They're all made in the same factory in China, right? Got their name, phone number, and email, because that's what you need to fill out the purchase order. Uploaded to Facebook and said, Facebook, find us more customers just like these guys. So if Jeff buys a fidget spinner and Scott is friends with Jeff, Scott will get the fidget spinner ad. What's interesting is if I'm a man between the ages of 30 and 39, I probably have a certain type of problem with my teeth. Isn't there something like that? Like if you're over the age of 35, you probably have arteriosclerosis, which is like the beginnings of problems with your arteries. That's just because of age, right? Is there something similar with teeth? Of course, right? So Jeff, who bought, means Scott, who's friends with Jeff, is getting an ad too. And that's how you generate referrals and friends of friends. It's manufactured. It's on purpose. It's with Facebook. And it's Facebook lookalike audiences. This guy right here, the Sun Cycle guy, who's getting 4 walk-ins a weekend. These are all new people that are friends of current customers through the lookalike audiences. I think it's cool. What else did you want to go over? It's cool, right? So let's see what else. We have the 4 phases of the Facebook so what. You're probably on phase 4, which is who gives a shit about my fans if no customers are coming in? Like, it's just a waste, you know what I mean? Like, in the beginning, it was like, Facebook's amazing. We should have it. It's going to be great. Okay, we need to post stuff. Great. All right, we need fans. And then finally on the 4th phase, it's like, so what? Like, it doesn't matter because there's no ROI, there's no customers, there's no leads. We found that this works if you have 0 fans, 1,000 fans, or 1,000,000 fans. If your page is updated every day or never at all. If it's dead or running. And because we're paying Facebook, they make sure that this works. Right? Spectrum purchasing, we haven't talked about that. Okay, so here's what's interesting. Let's say you have a root canal. There's certain things you have to do after you leave the office, right? Like there's maintenance, and then you have to come back in. It's probably like the 1st day, the 7th day, the 14th day, and the 28th day, right? So what if you could automatically send those people an email or a Facebook ad? Totally doable. Because the same software that we use here, we tag them as root canals or deep cleaners or whitenings. So all of a sudden, day 6, you take a break, and then day 10 kicks in. Because here's your whitening schedule. Every day for the next 10 days, because you've bought whitening, we're going to send you an email automatically. So there's no follow-up, and there's no extra cost, because it's not like somebody has to call them and play voicemail tag. Of here's what you have to do every single day. And because we monitor open rates, there's code in the email, we can see if this person actually opened and read the email. So all of a sudden, it's not a scenario of like, hey, yeah, I didn't do it. It's like, no, we know you opened it and read it. It's on you, dude. You messed up. You didn't follow the whitening regime where you're not supposed to eat raspberries and drink red wine. It's not covered under warranty. You have to pay again. Do you have like patients like that? Right. So that type of stuff. Let's see. Isn't this fun? Like, no, it's a person's job. Yeah, 100%. And
I didn't know that it can go so in-depth. When you take it that far, I didn't even know it was possible.
yeah,
And I just like that you don't cast a wide net over here, you cast a wide net over there.
correct. Because it's not.
Most advertising companies probably.
Yeah, they're like, let's get your ad in front of 1,000,000 people. No, I don't want carpet bombing. I want the right person at the right time with the right ad spot. That's why we do split testing, gender testing, A/B testing. We'll do time testing. Some of our customers only show ads Thursday to Monday because that's when their customers respond. Why am I going to advertise Tuesday to Wednesday? There's no reason for it. Nobody goes biking on a Tuesday to Wednesday. They're all weekend players. The fun part is when you and I have a follow-up and I open up my phone and I go, all right, did Steve come in? What about Jonathan? What about Eduardo? What about Gabriella? All the way down, right? And then you can check your records, and you don't have to tell us a dollar amount, but that tell will justify our costs. It's not a scenario of like you put up a billboard and hope like branding and recognition. It's direct measurable results. Nothing else. No, there's nothing else. This is the whole presentation. Yeah, there's nothing else to talk about.
I was actually going to bring up, I was wondering, I know that you already told me how you met Omar, well,
Yeah.
not the actual story, but how did he get me
To come in here?
this chair?
So he and I have been friends for like 10 years, right? And he's in like the radio space, and he's always like, Facebook is so cool. Why can't I do something cool with Facebook? I was like, oh, I do cool things with Facebook. And he's like, what? So he came in and sat where you were. And was like, this is what we do. He's like, holy shit, this is amazing. And you know, like he gets super excited, and his teeth are too big for his mouth, so he's always smiling. You know what I mean? And he's like, you need to talk to this dentist guy. And I was like, okay, set it up. And then he sent me a picture of your card. I guess like he talked to you or somebody else.
It wasn't me that he talked to personally, actually. It was another manager at our office, and then they forwarded the message to me. And honestly, I just, like I said, I don't know Omar that well. I've only spoken to him a couple times.
Right.
I know him as a patient. But I don't know why, the respect for Omar.
Yeah, it's just the way he acts. Yeah, I don't get it.
So I said, if Omar says that this is such a big thing, I
Right.
gotta come see it. And it was right.
If there was one skill I could steal from him, it would be that. Like immediately people like him, and I don't know why, but I'm the same way. We've run these campaigns for chiropractors, moving companies, pest control companies. Like it just works because it's a people thing. Like this is the computerization of how people interact in like the modern day life. Like you and I spent more time texting than we did over the phone, and even when we were on the phone, it was kind of weird. Like you had to say, hey, how are you? What's going on? Oh my God, how do you, like, come on. And, like, and especially when you're dealing with like customers and customers, like, all right, we can text, it's fine, right? There are $1 million deals that happen over text message. It's no big deal. And people prefer to have it because they don't have to forget, or they can always remember the text message, right? The ad appears on Facebook. It's an ad that looks great, has attention and click-worthy act now offer that's worth breaking a habit over. That's a mouthful. But it's got to be an audience call out. There's like a 6-step process that some like PhD at Harvard figured out. And every successful Facebook campaign has followed this 6 steps. If you don't, it's not going to work. It's like the end of the discussion. And it's not like we're doing, you know those like dodo videos where like it's like 2 dogs and like they adopt a kitten and everybody likes it for 5 million views, but there's no customers from it? We don't do that. It's ads that make people click and ads that make people go all the way down. We only show this ad to people that actually want to click. Facebook tells us, and we do our manual split testing. So if it turns out that men between 60 and 65 and women between 60 and 65 are the worst customers, we turn off that ad set because what matters is the downstream. Not the clicks that happen here, but the dollars that are involved, right? We create a landing page that echoes the ad. That's how you get massive conversion rates. People say, yeah, I'm in, name, phone number, and email, great. There's a huge subset of the population that is willing to take the next step and go to the landing page and go to thank you page. We have a big blue button that says call today to get your free offer. People call today and schedule. And you know what you have to give them? I don't know, like, what's that cool stuff that dyes your teeth that you give to your kids? The plaque turns blue or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's called,
That stuff is so fun.
we don't do that. I don't know why we don't do that.
It's like $1 tablet. It's amazing.
I know. And I've tried to implement it in the office, and for some reason I just don't sell it. And I feel like it's such an easy way to show people like why you're here.
Yeah, and convince them to come in. Like, especially if you're targeting kids that are 12, 13, 14, or even 10 years old that are thinking about braces down the line. That's how you get the moms and dads. And you give it to the tablets to the kids, and all of a sudden, like, oh, it's horrible. It's okay. We can fix it. Let me value ladder the hell out of you, right? We found a huge subset of the population that values their calendar, and those are the customers that you want because they show up on time. So we did that as well. Text message, soap opera sequences, because more people are interested in, I know you're not a real estate agent, but more people are interested in buying a house from a real estate agent that climbed himself out of poverty than they are about saving 0.01%. More people are interested in buying and supporting a small business, especially a dentist, that is a really cool story. This guy, the Sun Cycle guy, he left Venezuela with nothing. Restarted his life. Kids, family, everything. Got an MBA from a school in Spain and resettled in Miami. Not that big of a cultural difference, but I mean, he had to leave and come back. He started his life from zero. Like, he left everything. And people talked to him about a story after they read it here. And then they bought what he was selling. It didn't care that you could get it $10, $15 cheaper down the street, or even $40 cheaper on Amazon. They cared about supporting their community. Soap opera segments. We're going to Kim Kardashian the hell out of you, right? So that type of idea. This is usually when I say, give me a check, but that's not the case right now, right?
Not right now, no. But
Yeah. We do this all the time.
how long have you been doing this?
I did this at Intel for a year and a half, and then I left my. I mean, it was supposed to be a 3-month internship at Intel in Portland, San Francisco, but then I stayed it for 18 months. Then I left that. They literally said, Jeff, you cannot stay longer than 18 months. It's illegal. Like, it's a company rule. So I went back, and then I went back and finished my MBA at Washington, St. Louis. I got poached by a company called Ericsson and split my time between Dallas and Sweden. I ran the same program that I did at Intel, but I ran for them. And then after that, I came back to Miami because the salmon always returns home. And I said, is there a way to leverage what I did out there into here? And my goal is to turn this into $1 million program. Like, drive $1 million worth of customers through here. We're getting there. But we need a dentist. Yeah.
Okay. What do we need to do to get started?
Contract, check, and then we have an onboarding phone call. And I run you through the 40 question of the onboarding doc, and I show you the timeline. We turn around campaigns in about 2 weeks. So that means from the second we have that onboarding phone call, where I get a real number of how many leads you're generating, your dollars that your customers are worth to you, how long they stay around, the value ladder, things like that, all the stuff that we talked about, and do the onboarding housekeeping like ad account, Facebook admin, stuff like that. From 14 days from there, I then show you everything. We even do customer research over here, by the way, that I usually don't go into. And we actually start putting advertising dollars into customer research to know the type of terms that moms, dads, kids, our target audience use in conversation and use that in the ad. Because all of a sudden you're speaking the same language. 14-day turnaround for $22.50. That doesn't include a $500 suggested ad spend. We're so good at our job that this $500 ad spend plus our fee still gets you a higher ROI than just doing this yourself. And because it's directly measurable, you know immediately if we're doing a job. Right off the bat. Like, we'll text you leads. And then you can go to the front desk lady and say, what happened? Like, what happened to Lucas? Did he come in? Did he spend money? Come on. And then, by the way, at the end of our trial phase, we present to you a Google Sheet of everybody that opted in. So you can go back to your team and say, how much money did we actually make? And if it turns out it's higher than your 3x ROI, you're in the money. Yeah. So what we usually do from here is we upload the presentation to the Google Doc because people forget, right? And like, there may have been an amazing idea. We're like, oh, that was it. And then you're driving home, you're like, what did we talk about again, right? So I'll share the Google Drive with you, and I'll present you some docs, get an agreement going, and then, I mean, August 14th, you could literally have this, and you just take credit. We shoulder the responsibility, you pay us for it, and you take credit. That's it. You get to say, look at all the leads we're generating. And maybe that's why Omar wanted you in here. Find out, right? Anything else you wanted to go over? Or do I get to show you through the maze?
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Crazy.
It's actually 3 separate buildings that the owners, like, they were all the way over on that side, and then they bought the next building. And then they bought the building after that. I'm going to turn off the mic.